She's no stranger to the stage. But today, Jermaine joins us for something deeper. What happens when your gift starts asking for more than just applause? This is a conversation about purpose, rediscovery, and the quiet bravery it takes to seek meaning behind the spotlight.
Do you feel enough now?
Ooh. Is this therapy or
There's still part of you that you're learning to love.
first question, the hardest? Just
Do you
kidding.
still hear now that, Jermaine, you're too much?
There's healing that happens
Yeah.
in between conversations.
That's true.
Why was it when we were a child we were just allowed to play? What the difference now that we're adults?
Jermaine Choa Peck! Hey! Wow! Multi-talented songwriter. You have mental advocacy pa. Ang dami-dami mong ganap. You even have a lot of music related to nature. Wow! It's beautiful. You're a storyteller. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
How are you right now?
Oh, wow. First question, the hardest. Just kidding.
Yeah. Or should I say,
Honestly,
where are you right now?
I'm really grateful. I think I'm full of gratitude right now because of just you welcoming me here in your space and all the other people that we've been interacting with. And I'm happy and I'm excited. That's where I'm at. I'm excited to know you and to know me more with the conversation that we're about to have.
Are you ano naman? You nervous not naman?
Hindi naman. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. All right. Do you feel enough now?
Ooh. Is this therapy or is this a podcast?
It's a friendly conversation.
Podcast? Ay, therapy pala itong pinasok ko. Honestly, sometimes I do feel enough. I'm enough. But it took me a while to get to this position, to this place that I can say I'm enough.
So there's still part of you that you're learning to love,
Always.
but still hurting.
I feel like we're constantly growing as people and we're constantly evolving and there's always gonna be pain, there's always gonna be joy, there's always gonna be all of these emotions that will come up. I think, yeah, sometimes you feel okay, sometimes you don't feel that you're okay and it's okay.
Right. It's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay.
Diba? Yeah.
Yes.
But looking at the past of your self-discovery, would you say that now you're already in the position that you have found the real Jermaine Choa Peck?
I think I'm in this journey right now in self-discovery still. But I definitely feel the most me right now that I've ever been.
Does that mean mas nagle-let go ka na now?
Oo. I'm letting go of any expectations of myself to
Right.
myself also and people around me. And I feel like I'm just surrendering and
That's
allowing
nice.
it to just allowing myself to bloom.
Try to flow, no?
Yeah.
Like, so you're saying there's like part of you try to hide because it's not something that expresses yourself. But now ba you can publicly celebrate yourself na?
By releasing my music, yes, this is the most vulnerable I've ever felt. I think this is the most vulnerable I've been in front of everyone. In my family, even my friends, and now even in the public because I'm sharing my life to everyone. and I'm talking to you also, and yeah, this is the most vulnerable. You got me at my most vulnerable state. So yes, I am very open.
You know, a lot of people would say, there's this joy and peace in success, but then finding the stillness in the chaos, that's when you really mess things up. Because like, I'm Jermaine, a songwriter. I'm Jermaine who also analyzes things. I'm Jermaine who wants to explore and do everything else. But then little did you know, asa na yung totoong Jermaine? Nawala na yung totoo mong persona. Would you say right now, you're still trying to find stillness in that chaos?
You know, I've accepted the chaos also. And in the chaos, I do find my stillness. And I think that's more of accepting that I am who I am. And I'm this person. Because growing up, syempre, everyone, like our time, we didn't really have those mga terms yet, diba, na let me scratch that.
That's okay.
Yeah, but growing up, people always tried to put me in a box. Like, you should be this.
Right.
This is the life that you have to live.
Right.
You study, you finish college, go do a corporate job, family, the whole shebangs. And I always felt like I was different. But I was also trying to conform with what society was telling me
Because
that how I
society
should
demands
be.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like even my skin color or my everything about me is supposedly not the standard
Yeah.
in this world
I know, I can
or
relate.
in this life. I'm sure as brown skin and
yeah.
curly hair, and growing up I would try to hide it. I would try to hide my hair. I would
Right.
I never really, not naman hide, but I would kind of like shy away from my light for a bit.
That's true.
And I just realized there's no need for that.
Right. There's no need to dim your light.
Yeah,
Right?
there's no
like if I
need.
illuminate, I illuminate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mahirap kasi yung ganon when you're trying to still reconcile your grief and then your own color and your own skin and everything else. But talking about you being in a workspace or in any space you walk into, do you still hear now that, Jermaine, you're too much?
Actually, no.
Not anymore. Okay.
Parang, I feel like people around me, at least the people that I love, they see how happy I am with what I'm doing, especially now that I'm releasing my music and just being myself. I feel like because of that, the others around me also celebrate with me.
That's nice.
And they've just accepted that that's who I am, that's how I am. And of course, there's still some people, you know, that lagi namang meron magsasabi na parang, pero it doesn't affect me as much as it would before. Wow.
So parang may reconciliation
Yeah.
na from back when you were a child, tas ngayon, you're in that phase now of reconciliation.
I think so. I think I'm just, I think I just know myself more. And I've accepted, one thing I also did was accept help.
Right, yeah.
And then allowing people to be there for me. Like growing up with, because I grew up with my mom. She was a single mom. And my dad he had substance abuse, problem. Yeah. And I think because of that, I had to learn at a young age to just become an adult.
Right.
And I think my thoughts are going far. Is it?
No, that's
Okay.
really good. Yeah, go.
And
Would you
Yeah,
say that you
now-
had to learn to survive as an adult? in
Yeah,
your
I
kid's
think
body.
exactly. And I think now, especially my relationship with my mom, allowing her to be there for me as a mom has been one of the biggest blessings actually again right now. And yeah, just saying, yeah, I can't do it on my own. I need help. I
help.
need you guys. I need my community. I need the people there for me. I don't have to be a hero right now
Right,
for anyone or
right.
for anyone. And that vulnerability, I think, opened me up more and opened the people around me more, especially my mom.
That's nice. Because sometimes, Jermaine, when you don't seek for help, it is because you see it as a weakness. And knowing you, like, you're a trial and error kind of person. Sometimes it gets too much na yung trial, yung lesson ng error, grabe yung consequences,
Yeah.
right? And part of those consequences, we would say, sometimes you can't even forgive yourself with the consequences of it.
Yeah. And also, I think part of it is you don't want to feel like a burden to anyone else. When you ask for help, it's always like, but they're going through something too. Like, why is my
Right.
problem as important if they're also going through something probably even bigger than what I'm going through? And I think that's what also stopped me for a while for asking help. But by opening up and sharing, there's healing that happens
Yeah.
in between conversations
That's
between
true.
people who maybe they're not going through the same thing, but there's just that emotions or understanding between two people. And yeah, and there's always magic in conversations. That's why I love conversations also.
Right. Because like you don't have to be the same just to understand each other.
Yeah.
Pero to listen and to also take in whatever they're saying, no? It doesn't even have to be an advice or anything. It's lovely when you say that because there's this part of you that wants to let go. But there's this part of you also that you want to move on. Would you like to talk about that hurting part of you that you just can't let go of?
Who?
I can be wrong, but I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Oh, right now, every day every day I'm shedding a lot of like layers. I am,
Like peeling onions, no?
yeah.
Right.
It's been like a constantly moving, healing, learning, unlearning, just like nonstop for me. And like what I said earlier, right now I'm just in surrender mode. Whatever comes up, I just face it. Like recently, my dad passed away. I think it's been 2 months. And it was so sudden. Like what I mentioned, my relationship with my parents naman, like, my parents were separated when I was young. But wala pa. Yeah, so I think my dad's passing opened me up a lot also. And it's opening up a lot of my childhood. I wouldn't even say trauma, just childhood memories that I hid or tried to forget.
Right.
And in that space, I'm finally more open to my family again.
That's nice.
And because of that, to everyone around me also. So I'm still constantly letting go of different parts of me na I thought I had to hide.
Kasi like, there's this feeling like, kailangan ko siyang i-hide kasi hindi siya acceptable sa society, no? And then, pagdating pala ng panahon, you'll realize, I should have even let it out.
Yeah.
So people can actually understand me, no?
Yeah.
Parang a lot of people would see you, yeah, you're creative, you're smart, like you go with the flow. But then part of you would always be tagged as rebellion, mga ganun ba? Rebellious child, parang not listening and everything else. But you're actually just going through it as Jermaine adult, but you have a child within. Would you say something in this moment you're trying to unlearn na from the past na yung hurt na child na Jermaine, yung big child na ngayon na Jermaine is trying to unlearn ba? Would you like to share that?
I think right now, I'm doing the things that I wasn't able to do when I was younger. That's where, actually, now that I think about it, all those experiences made me just, now, if you see me, I'm very playful.
Right.
And I've always been like that, but I think even more so now, because when I was younger, I felt like I had to be an adult because of everything that was happening around. So I had to
toughen it up.
Like I remember, I think I did a talk the other day, and I just remembered my first commercial ever. I was 7 years old. And I remember I wanted to study in this school in Las Piñas. And it was a new school. I was like, I want to study there. It looks nice. But we didn't have the money. And then I landed my first commercial when I was 7. And that paid for the tuition.
Oh, wow.
But then after nun, ubos na. So wala ulit. So balik ako dun sa dati.
One day millionaire.
Pero okay lang. At least na-experience ko siya. And I was already doing commercials when I was young. Not, I guess, just to help. Now that I'm thinking about it, just to help my family and with whatever we needed. And my mom also, because she was working a lot of jobs at that time for us to survive.
Wow.
And I mean, I wouldn't say naman I didn't have a great childhood. I did. I was able to play. I was free to do whatever I want. I always had a supportive community around me, my family, yung mga titas ko. One of my titas, she even enrolled me in a theater school.
Oh, nice.
Because she saw how much I enjoyed being on stage. In church, I was performing in church for a theater show, and she was so happy to see me there. And she was like, you know what, I'll enroll you. So there's like a balance of play and work ever since. And I think now, at this point in my life, I just wanted to just play.
Instead of controlling things around you. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the magic that I always had, is finding play in everything that I do. And not taking things too seriously.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we're always just, we're playing.
Yeah.
Like, why was it when we were a child, we were just allowed to play? What's the difference now that we're adults? It's the same thing.
Right.
Especially as creatives. Diba? Parang we can't be bounded by whatever people are telling us to be and stuff. And it's just that essence of play that it just never left me. And I think more so now, I am really clinging on to that.
That's nice, no? Because you are now a Jermaine Choa Peck that's trying to reverse the situation.
Yeah.
Because before, no, I'm Jermaine that needs to have goals. I need to be this. I need to be in this school. I need to create this music. But now you're like, you know what? Hindi pala masaya. Right? It wasn't as sweet as I thought it would be. So then you stop controlling it. Nare-reverse na. And that's part of healing, Jermaine. Right? Because when you get to understand yourself even more, na-realize mo, kailangan ko lang palang maging tough for that situation.
Yeah.
Would you say, Jermaine, in this type of arena na, okay, your music is more, let out, ganon. Would you still be okay kapag may magbabash ulit na, ayoko to music mo, ang weird na mga ganto ganyan. Mas okay ka na ba ngayon? Like,
actually, I love it. Like, if they say that it's weird, then it's weird. I mean, I'm just, especially with writing, especially this one that, it's my first time releasing my own music. I've always played with other bands.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. I'm always like, I was always just in the background playing for people. But I always knew that I can. I can do it. But there was so much fear in me. That's the fear of
Maybe you're not
not
good
being
enough.
not good enough. I didn't study music. I didn't have the proper training or anything. When I joined the band, I didn't know how to
Really?
play any instrument.
Oh, wow.
I knew I love performing. So I was like, you know what? Sige, game. And then I just learned like everything as
Oh,
I went
wow.
along. And I wouldn't even say that I'm still the best at any specific instrument, but I always had a vision. I had this creative vision in me that I always saw. But that's when asking for help came. Like asking my friends to help me create this music or put this vision into life. And wow, now I can't believe I actually have a full like EP. I mean, album. You know, it's an album. It's 5 songs. And
Still an album.
It's still an
Right,
album.
right.
And even writing my experiences, I mean, that's just, you know what? I can't even say it's my songs. These are gifts that were given to me. I'm really just a vessel here. And I have to accept, of course, the power that has been given to me. But like all these words, all these things, it's a gift.
It is a gift.
Yeah. And
You're chosen to carry the gift. That's why it's heavy burden.
yeah.
Can
And
be.
it's such a big thing to hold or to grasp, but it's so beautiful also. Like now, like saying yes to doing music and creating. I see my friends also creating. I see the other people in my life recognizing and also being touched by the songs. Yung isang song ko, yung Tahan na, I wrote that like at the peak of my anxiety. And then a lot of my friends were also anxious about life at that moment. And then my producer gave me the beat. I sat down, I meditated, I prayed, and then it just flowed. The words just flowed out of me. And then when I went to the studio, they were like, that's it. We don't have to change anything. That's it. That's how raw, that's it. And then it's one of the songs that people have been really connecting with. A lot of moms, a lot of my mom friends, a lot of women, a lot of people who are going through just life have been messaging and how it's comforted them. And sometimes even me, I have to remind myself, and when I listen to that song, that like, because it's about just being okay, not to be okay, and to breathe.
Right, to breathe. Ang ganda, Jermaine, when you have this realization. Yes, I'm talented. I can do all these things. But at the end of the day, why it is very heavy for you? Because it's such a great gift. Parang it's hard when you carry all those gifts na ikaw lang. So you would need to call the higher being for that. Because you won't be able to release it out if hindi complete yung story mo sa sarili mo.
Yeah.
So maybe it's part of the gift. Yung i-journey mo talaga yung darkness.
Yeah.
And then towards finding the light.
The light.
Yeah.
We all
And
have
it
to
has to take one Jermaine Choa Peck to do that.
Yeah.
Because if somebody weaker, I would use the term weaker, not tough enough during the child, not have goals. Yes, you got into an anxious situation for quite a while. But the higher being, God knows kasi, you'll get through it.
Yeah.
Babalik ka din sa Kanya.
Yeah.
Would you say now, you're more open to believing there's this higher power na naniniwala sa'yo? Would you say now na, mas love ko na pala yung sarili ko na ganito?
Yeah. I mean, I've always believed that there's a God that's always guiding us in our lives. And
Lumiliko lang tayo. Lumiliko lang tayo eh.
And that's how, I've always felt guided ever since. And that guidance comes from the higher power, the higher being. And I think every situation that has been put in my life has been part of the test. Not even a test, it's just part of life for you to remember who you are.
Right, yeah.
And to
Remember
come
your
back.
identity.
Yeah, and to come back to who you are.
That's true, yeah. When you get lost is when you try to do a lot of things na hindi na align sa'yo eh.
Yeah.
Right?
You'll know naman, like, your body knows.
Yeah.
You'll know when it's not.
Pero pag tapos na, your body knows, hindi pala ako yung si Jermaine, hindi pala ako. Pero pag tapos ang dami ng mga mga in and out na nangyari, no? Would you want to rewrite a story or like a phase in your life if given a chance?
Oh, I've gotten this question before, and I said no. I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't be who I am now if it weren't for everything that happened in my life. All of it.
Jermaine's journey reminds us that talent alone isn't a destination. It's a compass. And sometimes the hardest part isn't finding your gift, but listening closely enough to understand what it's really for. Catch us on our next episode as we dig deeper into the conversation with a well-known TV host, comedian, and a total performer, Eri Nicolas.